Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to WeLoveMetal.com. We're on the phone with Glen Drover, formerly of Megadeth. How are you doing tonight, Glen?
I'm good, thank you.
I want to congratulate you on Metalusion. Amazing solo project. You know, you must be very happy with the reviews that have come so far.
Absolutely. Big time. Yep, very much. I mean, it was kind of like the project was kind of like, it was a very slow moving kind of thing that we've done over the last couple of years, and very self-indulgent, so it was, obviously about, trying to please ourselves and what we believed in, and then, to have people review it and look at it the same way is a great thing.
Now, with all the people that you've played with in your career, Glen, I mean, they're numerous. How did you decide who was going to be in this band with you to make this album?
Well, what happened was a buddy of mine who I've known for years, Chris Sutherland, who's the drummer for the Kim Mitchell band, who is also known for, Kim Mitchell's, he comes from Max Webster, who, they toured with Rush back in the day, so a lot of people know Max Webster probably more so than Kim Mitchell, but whatever the case, great musicians that Kim has always had. And Chris has been a friend of mine for a while. I called him up and I said, I got this idea to do something more adventurous, not just metal, but just, kind of, playing, stuff that's, it's more like combining different influences that we've had over the years, prog, fusion, whatever, that kind of thing. And he was really excited about the idea, and then he recommended a couple of different guys. One was Paul Yee, which is a bass player that he's played within various, different projects, and great bass player. And also to Jim Gilmore from Saga. He played with Saga for I think a tour or two, Chris, so he was exposed to his caliber of playing, and thought that, he'd be a really good addition to the band. So that's how it came about.
Now, it's a complete instrumental. Were you concerned about that? I mean, it's definitely not mainstream.
No, not at all. Like I said before, it was very self-indulgent. Very much, we started putting... In the beginning, let me tell you how it started. We started with a few cover songs, because I thought, you know what? Chris had recommended these different cats to play, and, regardless of being great musicians, you never know what it's going to be like playing with, a set of musicians. It could have like a chemistry or not. So I thought, okay, well, you know what? Here's a good test. Let's try, a few covers and see how it goes. The first song we did was Egyptian Danza from El Demila. And we were so excited about the way it turned out that we thought, let's try a couple more just for fun. So we picked a couple of Jean-Luc Ponty songs. Actually, I picked a couple. There was two that I had in mind, but I couldn't choose, the one I wanted to do more than the other type of thing. So Chris was like, well, let's just do both of them, and then we'll see how it goes, and we'll pick the best one. And so we did both tracks, and we had different guest guys play on those tracks. And they both came out so well that we're like, you know what, we've kind of really put our stamp on it. Let's add this to the album. At that point, we were talking more about doing an album, because we knew that there was a chemistry. And, it kind of went from there, basically. It started off very loose. We had no plans of, we're going to do an album, or we're going to talk to this record company and this and that. There was none of that kind of stuff going on. It was just purely like, let's just start by doing a few things, see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. So.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Glen, because the two, there's 5 covers, but, only 3 artists, so obviously 2 of the songs are...
Well, there's actually 4 covers.
Oh, is there? I thought there was 5. I apologize.
To be technical, what happened was, we did the L tune, Jean-Luc Ponty tune, and then the Frank tune was actually supposed to be like a medley of 2 songs. The intro being a tune called the Purple Lagoon, which is a very long fusion. But we just took like the beginning of this thing where it kind of features more like of the drums, more drum solo kind of thing. And I had this idea of connecting that piece with this other song from an album called Lather, or Leather, whatever you want to pronounce it, called Filthy Habits, which is really kind of a hypnotic kind of weird, kind of guitar solo kind of thing. Get this riff that's, kind of goes, kind of repeats itself, for many bars. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to connect those two because of the tempos. And as far as, for right reasons, we weren't able to use those pieces as a medley. We didn't get the rights to do that. So what happened was, in the end, we had to separate the two. So basically, it appears as two songs, but the initial, if you listen to it, it's one piece.
Mm-hmm.
There's no separation.
No, it just speaks to the fact that you made the album, for you guys, for the band. You guys were jamming. It gives you that feel for sure. When I did the review, I harkened back to the fact that the whole album was like a history lesson for me, because the jazz and blues fusion that you used, I think it makes everyone realize how much our modern metal is affected by that, and people forget that, take it for granted. Was that your intention?
That's a very good question. I don't think so. I don't think that was, the whole process was very natural. I don't think we really analyzed what we were doing too much. I think that it really came naturally. I think, like I said before, it's kind of like just kind of a combination of different influences that we've all had throughout the years, and being that I found musicians that were kind of on the same page. Well, actually, they are not just prog or metal or whatever, but they've all been exposed and like metal, prog, fusion, and all these different things that I grew up with, and they all share the same love for all these different forms of music and influences. So basically, we just kind of, it evolved really, I think, naturally, because, we just wanted to do something different than, just doing like a metal thing. You do like a metal thing, it's like, heavy riff after heavy riff, and then it gets to the point where people start saying, well, it's cool, but it sounds like, where are the vocals, kind of thing. And we didn't want to do that, and although I did that years and years ago with Sean, and the beginnings of the Eidolon stuff in the early 90s, I didn't want to repeat that. I wanted to do stuff that was, because when you do instrumental music, you have to really try to, you're very conscious of of trying to capture the listener's attention, because it's easy to lose their attention if you repeat things too much or whatever the case. So you try to make it more colorful, and that's what we try to do basically on this album.
Well, this album for me, visually, when you hear every track on it, it's a journey. This album will take you places in your mind if you sit back and listen to it. And, I can't say that enough, that's the way music should be, so.
Well, we try to. Especially in these times, I think there's a market for just about anything at this point. There's so many branches off the rock tree, metal tree, whatever you want to call it. But we just want to kind of fuse these influences that we knew that would work together and make it cohesive enough so that, like every song would fit and sound like, it was, when you listen to the album, there's not like one song that sounds like it's out of place type of thing. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I wanted to hit on some of the other stuff you've been doing as well, Glenn, and I read somewhere that you did some work with Lion Share. Is that correct?
Well, that's a band that I really don't know a lot of, to be honest with you. The guitar player from that band was a guy, I think he was a promo guy for a label out of Sweden called Escapi. And when we, like, near the end of the Eidolon days, when we joined Megadeth, we signed a one-album deal with Escapi, and he was this guitar player that is part of that band. Was, you know, that's how we met the guy. And basically after, you know, we did, you know, finished doing the album, like in between Megadeth tours and so forth, he contacted me and asked me if I wanted to do a solo for an upcoming album that they were doing, and I said, yeah, sure, why not?
Well, I'll tell you, they're actually one of my favorite bands.
Okay,
and
I really don't know a lot about the music. I know of the band, of course, because I did the thing for them, but...
Yeah, no, I think they're highly underrated. They don't have a lot of North American exposure, so...
Right.
And you've done some guest spots with Testament, correct?
Yeah, live.
Yeah, I actually just did an interview with Chuck Billy here a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And he spoke very highly of his time on stage with you, so it must be nice to hear that from legends like him.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're all great people. Chuck is just, all the guys in the band are like super nice guys. Chuck, I hit it off with him right off the bat. You know, very nice people. And the thing I really respect about Testament, not only being a fan, growing up and listening to that stuff, because I did, you know, back in the earlier 80s and stuff like that. But they're the same to this day, you know. They're like all about the music, you know. Get out there, have a good time, you know, have fun, no drama, no crap. Just get out there, have a good time, and, you know, I guess realize that, you know, it's really cool that, you know, they're still going and doing their thing, and, you know, they're doing very well, as they always have done. And just, I think, you know, that's one thing I really respect about those guys. They embrace that. They don't take it for granted that, you know, it's like, you know, tomorrow you can fall off the wagon and nobody's going to care about you, type of thing. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I really like about those guys.
Was it being on that stage with them? Is it at the same levels you were at with Megadeth? Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the music is very technical, so it's very, very challenging. You have to be totally on top of your game, and, you know, and trying to, you know, emulate Alex's solos versus, you know, Marty and Poland and all these other guys. It's equally as challenging, you know. But that's part of the fun for me. You know, it's the stuff I grew up with. You know. When it's all said and done, Glenn, what do you think people are going to say about your legacy in music?
Man, I don't know. Who knows? All I've ever tried to do is the best I can, you know. And any band that I've ever played in, King Diamond to Megadeth to Testament to whatever, you know, all you can do is try to do the best you can, and be a good person, be cool to the fans, you know, because without them, you're nothing. You know, and I've seen a lot of crap on the road, you know, throughout the years. But the one thing I've always tried to do is, you know, try to be personal with those guys that, you know, that wait, because I was on the other side of the fence too, man, you know, back in the day, and, you know, waiting for my heroes to come out outside of, you know, whatever venue, and they shine you on or whatever, and just don't, you know, bother with you type of thing. So I try to always be personal and, you know, be really cool with everybody and give everybody the time of day, you know, that I could do, and just have fun with it, man.
Well, Glenn, I want to
thank... But you have to embrace that, man, that whole thing about, you know, tomorrow it could be completely different, you know, and don't ever take that for granted. I never have. I've always appreciated everything that's come my way, you know.
And I want to thank you so much for doing this, Glenn. You're definitely an inspiration to all young Canadian musicians, and I can't
Thank
rave enough about Metalusion and encourage people to make sure they pick that up. And
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
definitely thank you for the time for doing this, Glenn.
Rob.